Hi everybody, I'm Kathy and I'm here with the third in my series of quick and easy tutorials to make things or mini junk journals. And here's what we'll be doing today. This was requested by some of the viewers in my group, and it's what I call a wishing journal. It's made with coin envelopes. The binding is safety pins that are looped together with elastic. And each coin envelope has a tag in it with a saying that represents the quote on the front. For example, beauty for your eyes to see. Smiles to make you happy when you are sad, etc. And this was not my own idea. I got this idea from this book, Handmade Books and Bindings. I adapted it a bit. They called it a rainbow journal. So let's get started. I'll tell you what you'll be needing. First, of course, you'll need a trimmer, scissors, a hole punch, a bone folder, some sort of trim for the tags and for the front of the coin envelopes. If you'd like, you could use some distress ink. You need some sort of cord or elastic to go through the safety pins, glue, and then you need the safety pins, one for each envelope that you're going to make your journal with. This particular one has 10 envelopes. Today I'm just going to make one with 5. So we'll be needing 5 safety pins. And as far as paper goes, you need 5 by 5 pieces of cardstock. Each envelope requires one 5 by 5 piece. So I'm using 5 pieces. For your tags that go inside, the measurements of those are 2 inches by 5.5 inch cardstock. You can use your scraps for that. And the small tag on the cover, that is 1 inch by 3.5 inches. So these are the paper materials you'll need. So again, 5 by 5 inch cardstock, 2 inch by 5.5 inch cardstock for the tags that go in the coin envelopes. And you need, if you'd like, a little tag for the cover. That's 1 inch by 3.5 inch. So let's get started. Today what I'll be doing is taking you through the base of this. I won't be spending time decorating it. Okay? So, since I told you I was doing 5 envelopes, when I made this one, I actually have a memory keeper board that makes making the envelopes a little easier. But I know many of you don't have that. So I'll show you how to do it without the memory keeper coin envelope maker. And so the first thing I want to do is cut down my paper to, let me make sure I'm in the frame, to 5 by 5. These are already 5 inches tall, so I just need to cut on the side. Save these, you can use them later. Let's see how many I can cut at a time. Okay, these are going to be the basis for the coin envelopes. Since we have the cutter out, I'm going to go ahead and cut the tags. And for the tags, I've chosen these colors just because that's what I had. And we're making these 2 inches by 5.5 inches. So, I'm sorry. Yeah, 2.5 by 5.5. That doesn't make sense. 5.5 is too big. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, yes it is, because I forgot it sticks out of the coin envelope. Okay, so we're going to make these 5.5 inches long. These are for the tags. By 2 inches wide. And I just need 5 of them, so here's 2. And I think this is a little too thick, so I'll do 2 at a time. And again, we're doing it 5.5 inches. By 2 inches. Okay, and one more. 5.5 by 2. Okay, this is what we'll be using for the tags. Except 1, 2, 3, 4. I need another one. The blue one, where did that go? I have the blue. Green. Well, I don't have all the colors. So let me grab a pink one. Even though it doesn't really go, but that's okay. 5.5 by 2. Okie doke. Then we need, for the front of the envelope, we need a strip that's 1 by 3.5. I already have 1, so I'm going to use some scraps. And we're making it 3.5 inches by 1 inch. So I can get a couple out of this. One. Two. Three. And I need one more. Let's see how long this one is. 3.5 by 1. Okay. That is all the cutting you're going to need to do with your trimmer. Well, actually, I'm wrong about that. What I'm going to try to do is cut out parts of the envelope with the trimmer. And what I've done is I've made a template, excuse me, for your coin envelope. The template comes from your 5 by 5 inch piece of paper. And the first thing we're going to do is cut into the paper 1.5 inches from each side. So I'm actually going to use this and come in 1.5 inches. So it's 5 by 5. I need to go here. So I know this is 5 inches across. I'm coming in, let me just do it up here, to 3.5. I'm wrong. I'm going to come over just an inch down, coming in an inch down. So essentially I'm coming in an inch this way. So let me measure that. Coming in an inch here. And I'm coming over, after the inch, I'm coming over an inch and a half. I hope you can see this. So let's see how this works. Now you can do it with your scissors, which might be easier, but I wanted to try to do it with this. I'm going to come over an inch and a half to, let me make sure you can see. Coming over an inch and a half to this line. So it's really kind of, I'm putting this because I know that the blade is under here. And that's all I'm doing. I'm cutting that piece. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm coming over an inch and a half, which is about right there. Okay? Now you can put your cutter aside, because you're only going to do this for the first one or to make your own template. And then all I'm going to do is cut this off. And just to be safe, I'm going to match that, and it was correct. And I'm going to cut this off. So what you've made is your own template. Now I rounded the corners. You don't need to do that because this is not going to show. Now what you're going to do is, I didn't ask you to have a, what do you call it? A scoreboard. If you have one, you might want to use one. I am going to take mine down and use it. I usually have a mini one, but I don't know where it is. So what I'm going to do, just to make it a little easier, is I'm going to score it right there and right there. So I'm scoring it at either end of the tab. Then I'm going to fold it over and fold it over. That's all you want to use it for. Okay? You leave the bottom completely open. So, I'm going to use this as a template, and I'm going to cut the other pieces. Now for mine, I've already cut them into 5 by 5. I'm using rather light cardstock. I actually prefer to use a little heavier cardstock. It just holds the shape and the wear and tear that your journal might have. Well, come on now. Okay. Put this back up. Cut the other side. I know it looks like a strange coin envelope, but this is an adaptive coin envelope. Okay. So, if you want, you can still use your scoreboard. I didn't use it for any of my coin envelopes, but you do want to make sure on the bottom that you're lined up. And what you want to be doubly sure about is that the flaps overlap each other so you have a place to glue. Make sure it's lined up at the bottom. Oops. And you want to make that really crisp. It's okay if it's off a little. Much of this is camouflage, you'll see. Okay, and one more. This was really fun to make, especially deciding what to put on the tags. I have to be honest with you, I didn't take a lot of time worrying about the tags. I am going to go back and redo some of them. I chose to write my sayings in my own freehand. I didn't really like the way it came out, so I'm actually going to redo it and stamp it. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is glue it. Let me put this stuff out of the way. And a small bead of glue down the center. Whoops. Don't worry about the top yet. Well, you know, I've run out of wet wipes. It's killing me. And my Publix does not have them, the grocery store by me. And they were like my godsend when I'm gluing. I know I can just get a damp paper towel. But see the mess I make? I get it all over my hands. Geesh. McGeesh, as they say. Okay, let me get my Teflon thing. Okay, next, and this is probably the trickiest part of all, is what we're going to do is we're going to fold this over, but normally when you would fold a coin envelope, you'd fold it all the way down. We're not going to do that. We're going to leave about 1/8 of an inch lip, like that. Do you see how that's kind of overlapping there? That's what you want it to do. Okay, so let me straighten this out a little bit. Then when we glue it down, don't get glue up here if you can avoid it. Just put it at the bottom there, okay? And let's set that aside. Same thing here. We're going to fold it and we're going to leave about 1/8 inch border at the top. And you want to make sure kind of that they match. That will help when you put your safety pins in. And normally I would recommend to do your coin envelopes. These are very different sizes. I don't like that. Normally, but that'll be okay. Normally, I would recommend doing your coin envelopes out of a darker color, like I did here. I would have preferred black. It just, if you're going to make your tags colorful, it's better to have this as a darker color so they really stand out. Now, that doesn't mean you can't make these printed either. That's up to you. That's where your creative genius comes in, right? And we all have our creative geniuses. They might not be like everybody else's, but that's okay. That's what makes crafting so much fun, because we all have different ideas. Oh, I forgot I wanted to fold it first. You see, I'm only putting it on the tip of the flap, the edge of the flap. And one last one to go. Okay. And you want creases, really good creases down the sides. Don't worry about the top yet, because we don't want to crease that too much, because we still have to put our safety pins in. Okay, so I'm choosing to use some of these black safety pins. Doesn't matter what kind you use, they just need to be big ones. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to punch holes in our coins envelopes. And what you do for this is, I'm not going to take and punch a full hole in the flap. I'm only going to line it up so I'm punching a half of a hole, like this. See what that looks like? That's what you want. I made the mistake in my first that I made. I put rivets in. I thought it would be really cool. And then what happened is, when I put the safety pin in, when I turned it, it wouldn't turn because the rivets were too reinforcing. So then I decided to try it like this, and it worked much better. You want to make sure that your holes are not farther apart than would allow your safety pin to fit in. And the safety pin's going to fit in with the pin side down. So you want to make sure that your hole is close enough, or not far apart, not that far apart. Okay, so I did it, let me tell you how far apart. I did it, it looks like it's just about 1 1/8 inch apart, each hole. So that, whoops, I went in the wrong hole. You're going to attach it just like this. Oops. Come on. There we go. And that's why it's also good to use harder cardstock, thicker. And that's exactly what it looks like. I'm actually going to take this out. I'm going to tell you what, I'm not going to take it out. I'm going to move it over. You want your pin to be on the other side. You want it to be cleaner on the front. So you want these two little edges to be in the back, just so it looks a little cleaner. Okay, let's do it again. Going to line up my hole punch. Doesn't matter what kind of hole punch you have. And you really want it to be the same distance apart. So if you need to, you can mark it. So let's go ahead and mark these. I'm typically not a marker or a measurer, but I should be. Okay, and then I'm just going to use these because when you put the safety pins in, you want them to line up all at the same place. So even with this smaller envelope, I'm going to try to center it nicely. And last but not least, this is smaller as well. I don't know what happened, but it's okay. Okay, so we have 3 more to go. We're going to go halfway in. And halfway in. Just like that. When I did mine, I made such a mess when I was doing this part. You know, I didn't think to do it like this. So you get the trial and error edition. Oh, that could be a little bigger. Okay, so let's go through and put our pins through. Make sure your pins are all facing the right direction. So this is the plane, this is the front of the envelope. And I want the head of the pin facing the same way. And you just come in and out. And I would do it, I'm only doing 5. I would do at least 10 to 15 envelopes. I just think it looks so pretty when you have quite a few. And if you're going to ink, distress the edges of your envelope. You should have done it before you put the pin in, which I should have done, but I didn't. So at least let me do one the way you're supposed to. Duh. And let me do the back. Okay, I'll go back and do the others. But I at least wanted to show you the correct way. Okay, we have all our pins facing in the correct direction. Let me finish inking up these. You always want to remember to ink the back of your stuff. Did I remember that here? No, of course not. Do as I say, not as I do, right? Okay. And one more. So really the basis of these coin envelope journals are really quite simple. Okay. Next, let's go ahead and cut these out. See, I have little notches at the end. I do that with my hole punch as well. You just make sure the corner is in the eye of your punch, and you just snip it off. You know, if you make one a little smaller, that's okay. No biggie. Whoop. You can do a couple at once. These are great to do these this method for nameplates. If you put your name on your journal. Let me cut this again because it didn't do it quite well enough. Quite good enough, not well enough. There we go. Go back up here. If I could see, it would really help. Well, I did the same thing. There we go. That one's fine. Get this junk out of your way, and mine. And definitely want to ink these up. You only have to do the front on these. Let me fix that one. There we go. Have you ever gone on to rangerink.com? If you go on there and look at their videos, you learn a lot about inking and stuff. I've just discovered that. I haven't been junking for long. I just finished my first year as a junker, as I like to refer to myself. And I've learned a lot. Now, typically what I would like is to put something behind this. So just to give it some more layer. It could be tissue. It could be whatever. Let me see if I can find something really quickly. Okay, I'm just gonna stick this down here. My dog's gonna start barking in a minute because that's what he does. He waits for the videos to start. And I just put it on haphazardly. And then I'm gonna put this right there. You can put it anywhere. I'm gonna put it right over the top. And then I am going to, excuse my arm here. I'm going to show you, no puppy, no. I have these great stamps. I got these from Hobby Lobby on sale. And let's see, maybe on the front of here, I'm going to put just wishes because it's a wish journal. W-I-S. S-H. Need another S. I need an E. There's an E. Okay, let's just move that up. And then we're going to put this here. Okay. That's just an example of what would go on it. Then our little tags. All you do with your tag is fold it. Don't crease it though. Fold it. Cut off the corners. That'll give you the shape of a tag. And it's kind of a long shape, but that's what you want. And you're going to punch a hole in the top. And let me find some ribbon. And I'll use this ribbon. I got this online from somebody, and I love it. Excuse me one moment. Come on. Go on. Come on. Hurry up. Okay, I'm coming. Sorry. We're just about to finish this up, and I didn't want him. Now he's barking outside rather than in here. He's telling me something. He's telling me that he's hungry, and I know my husband's not going to come out of his hole. Yes, he is. My husband's going to come and take care of him. Okay. And then that would go in here. Now, on these, the categories that mine had were, and I put it in the post, I believe, in one of the comments on Friendly Junk Journals, Junkers, Junk something. But I put one that said dreams And on the back, it was to reach, beauty, for you to see, for your eyes to see, smiles, to make you happy when you are sad, comfort on difficult days. And what I will do is in the comments on this channel, this video, I will put some sayings that you could include. And then what you want to do is stamp those things on the front of your journal, front of your tags. Or write them. As I said, I wrote them. Or you don't even have to write anything. You can just put some sort of stamp or visual that represents what you want your wishes to be all about. On this first one, wishes, I would put on here, to my friend, for you. That's kind of the cover of your journal. So you're telling the reader what this journal's all about, okay? So I'm not going to do any more, well, I won't decorate them, but let me cut off the ends and put the holes in so that you can at least get the whole picture of what it looks like, okay? And this one, we crease it. Don't crease it, but we cut it. We punch it. And I like to make these very colorful. Originally, the design in the book that I showed you was for a rainbow journal. So you would have all the colors of the rainbow. Okay, now, what do we do? How do we connect these? This is so simple. All we do, let me put my glue away because it'll dry out, is taking about, this is about a 12-inch cord, a little longer, and we're going to actually cut this in half. All you're going to do is string this through on one side, through the eye of the safety pin. Just like that. And because this is elastic, you don't need a lot. You just need enough to be able to tie it. And you do the same thing at this end. Now, you could also, I think it would be pretty probably if you did it with ribbon. But you have to make sure, or the cord you would use for binding, you could use that. You just want to make sure it's going to fit through the eyes of the safety pin. And you don't want to tie it all the way. You want to leave room to turn the pages of the journal. So I'm going to do one end. I am going to do one end. I'm determined. And then what you want to make sure, after you tie one, you want to make sure that the other one is around the same size. You don't want to make it bigger. or smaller. So I'm actually going to tie it, and then I should have left this a little longer. I'm going to hold the ends and open this side up. There we go. Open it up a little more. There we go. And that is it. And again, these would all have the tags on the front. Just like this one. Anyway, thanks for watching. Check the comments for the little quotes that you can put in your journals. And thank you so much. I appreciate your nice words, and I learned so much from each of you, and I hope you learned something from me today. Have a good day. Bye-bye.